Today's 49ers report is presented by Manscaped. All throughout Niners training camp, Trey Lance has displayed a pretty smooth deep ball. If you want to smoothen up your balls, you can do so with the most elite and best men's grooming products by heading to manscaped.com/49ers. And when you enter that link, you get 20% off and free shipping. Just going to do a news and rumors roundup on this fine Thursday. Hope all of the Niner gang is having a great week. 49ers report coming at you. Chase Sr. here with you. Jeff Wilson. Little bit on the roster bubble right now at that running back position because he's been banged up yet again, and since coming out of North Texas, injuries have crept on him a little bit throughout his NFL career. That, on top of the fact that he's not been available, is the fact that the young guns and some of the young running backs on this 49ers roster have been really, really impressive. And this is a really good sign for Kyle Shanahan's offense because you don't want Trey Lance dropping back between 30 and 50 times as an inexperienced quarterback. Use the strengths of your roster to be very versatile in what you do and take pressure off your young signal caller. And for the Niners' young running backs to be performing like this so far, it's a good sign moving forward because running the football is the bread and butter in Coach Kyle Shanahan's offense. As for the guys who have been turning heads, Elijah Mitchell last year, he was great. We know what he's able to do. A really quality running back. Injuries, a little bit of a concern for him because he was banged up last year, but it's not like that kept him off the football field. Add in some weight, so maybe he can take the pounding more so as a second-year pro. Trey Sermon, third-round pick out of Ohio State last year, was in the witness protection program during his rookie campaign, but he came into camp in better shape, a little bit more decisive, not as much dancing in the backfield. He's been catching the ball out of the backfield on some screen passes as well, proving to be a very versatile threat, which is a good sign considering where the Niners drafted him. A year later in the third round, Ty Davis-Price, the rookie. He's been probably the most physical bell cow running back so far up to this point on this roster, and I love the switch-up that he brings in his game when you compare it to Mitchell as well as Sermon. TDP has been able to run through contact, pick up yards after contact, and give you that physical downhill threat. And then that last name there, Jordan Mason, get to know it. His coach at Georgia Tech, Jeff Collins, compared him to Marshawn Lynch. That's lofty praise. But last year in college football, one of the best backs at picking up yards after contact and has a lot of elements to his game that Ty Davis-Price does have. And doesn't have the getaway speed that TDP possesses, but Jordan Mason, with him playing well at running back up to this point, also contributes on special teams. So if it comes down to a roster decision for Coach Kyle Shanahan, are you going to go with Jeff Wilson, who's a vet, you know what he can do, and he can only play running back? Or are you going to go with Jordan Mason, who's cheaper, who might be the better all-around running back and contributes on special teams? The story the moves tell for what the Niners have done at the running back position are important to note, and they're becoming more and more clear. The Niners, one, drafted running backs to assist Deebo Samuel, make him happy so that he could get more wide receiver reps and take away some of the nicks and bruises that Deebo will suffer along the way if he plays running back too much. And two, Kyle Shanahan wants to keep his young backs fresh. He can do that with his young backs and the versatile elements that they bring to the football field because all of them have shades of just different skill sets. And you don't have to worry about some of these veterans like a Jeff Wilson, JaMycal Hasty. Why not go with some of these younger guys to have that youth movement at the running back spot? That's the story that the moves have been able to tell for San Francisco in the draft over the last couple of years. With another young player who does a good job and has done a good job and is important when it comes to opening up holes for those aforementioned running backs, let's now shift gears to Spencer Burford. Is the rookie offensive lineman, fourth-round pick out of UTSA, winning the job at starting right guard, fending off Daniel Brunskill and some of the other players who he's competing against? He is legit taken almost every single first-team rep at right guard for San Francisco, and in the process, the coaches are looking at one another saying, did we find a diamond in the rough in the middle of the 2022 NFL draft, a guy who at the college level played both left tackle, right tackle, little bit of guard, has that versatility, and is really athletic? Burford doing a great job up to this point in training camp. Good job by him for proving to be ready to go after being that mid-round pick. The Niners starting offensive line up to this point: It's been a concern. It's going to continue to be a concern until we can see that Aaron Banks can play. Jake Brendel and Daniel Brunskill switching first-team reps at center. I don't have a ton of confidence in both of them being the long-term center following the retirement of Alex Mack. Spencer Burford, while he's been playing well, is a rookie at the end of the day. And then Mike McGlinchey, a little bit slim, just over 300 pounds coming off that torn right quad from last year. So while Burford is looking good, some question marks just because of his age, but up to this point, Burford's done a great job. And you look at the size element that he brings to the interior. 6'4", 304 pounds, quick feet, athletic in space, important in this offense because Kyle Shanahan calls plays with these runs out to the perimeter in which the offensive linemen have to go on those pull blocks and get to that second and third level. And that tackle guard hybrid at UTSA has seemed to benefit his athleticism. Is he going to be the next Laken Tomlinson? We're not sure. But so far, so good with the 4th-round pick out of UTSA. An announcement on the 49ers report. How about this? Preseason kicks off next Friday. What does that mean? Watch parties are back on the 49ers report. Those of you who tuned in last year throughout the regular season and the playoffs, you know. The real ones certainly know that we have a lot of fun, and it gets crazy on our watch parties. Real One roll call, comment Real One if you're going to be tuned into our watch parties. Last year, sometimes more than 100,000 people tuned in, and the 49ers kick off the preseason slate at Levi Stadium against a familiar foe, a rival, and one of the other historic franchises in the history of the NFL. San Francisco, Green Bay. Look at the logos to my right. Two iconic brands, and they're going to meet up on Friday night, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, for the preseason opener for the Niners. And, of course, it is a rematch of last year's divisional round, when San Francisco went on the road in the cathedral of professional football with the snow falling down and came through with a monster win, upsetting the number 1 seeded Green Bay Packers. So because the Niners own the Packers and they own Aaron Rodgers, who's 0 against the Niners so far in the playoffs in his career, I want you to type FGB in the comment section. You see what I'm getting at? Yeah, that's right. And if you're a Packers fan tuning in and you're getting all salty in the comment section, I'm just going to show you this picture right here. Robbie Gould from deep for the win at the buzzer. San Francisco walk-off, that celebration, the snow coming down, Niners moving on to the NFC Championship game. Type FGB, FGB, if you're pumped up, and hit that thumbs up icon if this brings back some really quality memories. We continue to move forward in our news and rumors roundup. Brandon Aiyuk has been the standout stud so far in 49ers training camp in Santa Clara, and players are raving about him, calling him the best player so far in camp outside of Nick Bosa. But Nick Bosa, you look at him, how sculpted he isn't human. So this is pretty telling that Aiyuk's performances have been turning heads so far at training camp. The ability has always been there for the former first-round pick out of Arizona State. The consistency, though, has been lacking, and consistency separates good wide receivers from great wide receivers. And going into year 3, Aiyuk has a golden opportunity to prove himself as one of the better playmakers at that wide receiver spot in the National Football League, to live up to the lofty expectations of being that first-round pick and to set himself up for a future payday to be the long-term partner beside Deebo Samuel. Also, what's important, Aiyuk's growing relationship with Trey Lance. If San Francisco has plans to want to keep Aiyuk around and give him a contract extension, because going into next offseason, that will be a conversation, then his growing relationship with Lance could do wonders in those contract negotiations if the Niners want to keep him around if he has a really good breakout year in 2022. What he's done with Lance so far in training camp, they've connected in the red zone. They've connected on some of those vertical balls over the middle. Aiyuk's been doing it all. And going back to that original point that the ability has always been there, we've seen it in his first 2 years. Again, it just comes down to doing it and getting it done week in and week out. Aiyuk in training camp, practice in and practice out, has been balling out. I want to see it translate to the game field, not just for a small stretch during the regular season. I want to see it last the entire campaign. Rookie year, 11 games played, 748 yards during that COVID season in which practices were limited for a rookie. That's impressive. And then last year, he's in the doghouse for Shanahan, and then middle portion of the year, he starts to find that next gear and ends the season with 56 catches, 826 yards. Aiyuk, a prime breakout candidate, and up to this point, the #1 winner at Niners training camp thus far. Look into your crystal ball and place your bets. Football coming back, that means that sports gambling is back, and I love gambling on football. Over under 1,000 receiving yards for Brandon Aiyuk in 2022. Chime into the comment section, let me know. O for over, U for under. We want to hear from the faithful. As I mentioned off the top of the show, 49ers Report, sponsored and presented to you today by Manscaped, the leader in the best men's grooming tools. If you head to manscaped.com/49ers, you get 20% off and free shipping. And it's smooth ball summer. Smooth ball summer, just like a Trey Lance deep ball to the aforementioned Brandon Aiyuk. And you can smoothen up your balls with the Lawnmower 4.0. Battery life that lasts forever, safeguard technology, multiple interchangeable blades. And if you drop it in the toilet or if it gets wet, it's all good because it is water resistant as well. And in the performance package, you get everything here on your screen. The nose hair trimmer, also pretty solid as well because you don't want to have to bushwhack inside your nostrils and have all that hair coming out of there. Manscaped.com/49ers. Get signed up today and save 20% off and free shipping. I'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. Now we want to shift gears to the Trey Lance hype at training camp. And yes, there have been some rough patches. There have been some interceptions. There have been some ill-advised mistakes from Lance. But in training camp, this is the time to iron out and work out the kinks and work through some of those flaws and inexperiences. And that's what Lance has been able to do. And even though the play has been somewhat sporadic, somewhat up and down, he's done some marvelous things with the football that Jimmy Garoppolo just simply doesn't bring to this offense. That's why I'm so excited about the quarterback prospect, and that's why my stance continues to be that Lance can be a great player. His teammates also see the same in him. Very confident in what they've seen from the second-year quarterback. Charvarius Ward, who's picked off Lance a couple of times, had this to say about Lance after practice. I feel like he's about to show everybody what he's capable of doing. He's got to work. He's got to grow. All of us have to do that. I feel like Trey is going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's confident in himself, just like I'm confident in myself, and we all believe in him. We all trust in Trey. And we continue to hear this. This has been the story since the pre-draft process, and this is part of the reason why the 49ers allegedly fell in love with Trey Lance. He has a good head on his shoulders, and that's important to have for a franchise quarterback. First one in, last one out. Jimmy Ward also said that about Lance too. Speaking of Jimmy Ward, further on the 49ers starting quarterback, I feel like he's about to show everybody what he's capable of doing. And all of us, are really impressed with what Lance has been able to do. Jimmy Ward also notably did say that Lance is just able to overcome some of those mistakes that sometimes rattle young quarterbacks, but for Lance, that has not been the case. He also said that the Trey-Brandon Aiyuk connection has been crazy, and they've gashed the Niners defense, which I expect to be one of the best in the NFL, for some really big and noteworthy plays. And if that Trey-BA connection continues, we know what Deebo Samuel can bring to the field in this offense. George Kittle is the best all-around tight end in the league. We continue to sleep on Kyle Juszczyk for him being a blocking weapon, but also a pass-catching and ball-carrying option in this offense. Jawan Jennings, Danny Gray, Ray McLeod. Offensive line, the only concern that I really have. And then it's just Trey Lance's inexperience. But so far, the Trey-BA connection, it has really been taken to notice by Jimmy Ward. If you're excited about Trey Lance, want to hear from you once more before we hop on out of here. Niner Gang, faithful, San Francisco. Watch parties next week. Let's ride. Type 5 in the comment section if you're pumped up about Trey area, and make sure you subscribe to the channel.